Hey guys, and welcome to our best modular helmets of 2020. So what we've done is we've taken a bunch of modular helmets, we've given them to our rider, sent him on his way, and he's come back with the test results to show us exactly how each of these helmets stacks up. So the best modular helmets for 2020. We have some of the usual suspects, mostly these 5 here, and we also do have a few runners up that didn't really make the top cut, but we still tested and we still compared, and you'll see those later on with those road tests. So guys, let me just run you through what's going to happen. First of all, we're going to talk a bit about helmets very quickly, and then we're going to go straight into the road test. You'll see exactly how it wore, how it felt, and all that kind of stuff. You'll see the data, and then we'll go through them. We'll see these helmets, we'll see the runners up, and at the very end, we'll go through the graphs, we'll go through the results, all that data put into one place, and we'll make some judgments and see exactly how all the helmets really stacked up. Now remember, each helmet is tested over time. We take averages at 130 kilometers per hour as well. So let's introduce you to our helmets, the top 5. Shark Evo One 2, the AGV Sport Modular, the HJC R90, the Neotec II from Shoei, and the Schuberth C4 Pro. So let's jump into this, and remember guys that we are really the first ones to be doing this with all this data, all this gear and equipment. But before we jump into our helmets, if you want to see dedicated reviews for each and every one of these helmets where we go into a lot more detail, then check those out on our YouTube page in the product reviews playlist. So we have taken a few key measurements, and you'll see these for all the helmets. We have on the left on the white unit a thermometer which is placed on top of the head by the ventilation channels. In the middle up top we have a decibel meter which is placed by the ear, and that's so we can measure exactly how loud a helmet is. On the right we have the wind speed as well, and that means we can accurately compare these helmets. In the middle of the dash we of course have our speed, and just below it is the outside temperature. So at the end of each segment you'll also find our star ratings for each helmet as well, and these star ratings will give you an idea of how well the helmets did in a bunch of specific categories. And at the bottom you'll see our champion helmets rating for each modular helmet. So our first helmet is the HJC R90. Now this is the advanced version, the next version up from the HJC Max Evo, and it's going to come in at a recommended retail price of 400 euros and 460 US dollars. So that means it's going to be a high value helmet. So the shell is made out of HJC's PIM Plus material, which is aramid, carbon and fiberglass. This helmet comes in 2 shell sizes, and we have a weight of around 1500 grams. For the visor, it is Pinlock anti-fog lens prepared, and we do get the Pinlock in the helmet box, plus we do get a sun visor as well. So air comes in through one chin vent and one top vent. The air will then flow through an adjustable vent at the back of the helmet. For the liner we have a 3D multi-cool liner which is removable, washable, antibacterial, and has been prepared for riders with glasses. So the EPS is prepared for a communication system, and we have a micrometric enclosure system to keep the helmet on your head. So while our rider was testing the RPHA, the outside temperature was 25 degrees Celsius and the wind speed averaged around 135 kilometers per hour. So wind speed was a little bit higher than with most of our other tests. When it came to ventilation, the helmet registered 25 degrees, which was a pretty cool result, and it showed very strong overall ventilation. And then on the decibel meter, we had a reading of 102 decibels, which was quite good, and we'll see how that stacks up later on against all the other helmets. So while testing the helmet, our rider found that the RPHA was quite comfortable, stable, and all around a very strong pick. So next up we have Shark's Evo One 2. This is their top modular helmet because they do have a few out there, and this helmet comes in at about 430 US dollars recommended retail price, or 370 euros as well. So this helmet is going to be full of value, high value helmets, and it's also going to come with a few special features as well. So the shell is a polycarbonate material, and we have 2 different shell sizes. The weight is about 1650 grams, and the chin bar can be opened onto the back of the head. Even better though is that you can legally ride with it in this position. The visor is anti-fog Pinlock lens prepared, comes with a pinlock and opens automatically when you adjust the chin bar. Plus there is a drop down sun visor. For ventilation there is a chin vent, 2 scoops on the head and an exhaust at the back. Inside the liner is removable, washable, antibacterial and prepared for riders with glasses. Then we have a micrometric enclosure system and preparation for a shark tooth comm system. So for our measurements, the outside temperature was 26 degrees and the wind speed was a nice and even 130 kilometers per hour. So we had a strong baseline for our test. The shark was pretty weak in terms of ventilation, unfortunately, as the inside of the helmet registered at 31 degrees, so we had a difference of about 5. For noise isolation, the shark was okay though, as it came in at 102 decibels of sound. Now our rider noted that the shark was okay at everything but never among the best, but when he took the price of the helmet into consideration, our rider found that it was performing very well and it definitely showed high value. So they did also find that the chin bar mechanism was a bit difficult to use on the go though, as it got stuck and didn't move very fluently. So now we've come to AGV's top modular helmet, the Sport Modular, and as the name implies, it is a fairly sporty helmet. So this helmet comes in about $750 US or 700 euros at the recommended retail price. It's going to have a full carbon chin bar, very strong ventilation, and overall very lightweight. So the Sport Modular is made out of 100% carbon fiber, which gives it a strong and lightweight shell. We also have 3 shell sizes, and the helmet will come in at around 1300 grams. The visor is Pinlock anti-fog lens prepared. It comes with the helmet, and there's also a drop-down sun visor. So ventilation is supplied via a chin vent, a top scoop, and it escapes out of an adjustable spoiler vent on the rear of the helmet. The inner liner is reversible, so it has one side which is warm and another which is cool. The liner is also removable, washable, and antibacterial. It has a titanium double D-ring enclosure system and has been prepared for the center arc communication system. So our rider ran into something of a heat wave when testing the next few helmets, and the temperature rose pretty drastically to 31 degrees. Wind speed had also dropped slightly to around 125 km per hour as well. So we have a small difference in wind, but when it comes to our temperature tests, the difference between outside and inside the helmet will be the deciding factor. So onto our results. We had a very good 100 decibels of noise on average. This was a good result overall, and it was a nice round number as well. For temperature, our rider recorded temperatures of 30 degrees inside of the helmet, and while this does seem like quite a lot, remember the outside temperature was 31 degrees, and we have a difference then of -1 degree. So for our rider's experience with the helmet, a big plus was the reversible liner, which they set to the cool side for some pretty obvious reasons, and they were actually pretty happy with a bit more cooling. So our rider tested a newer version of the Sport Modular and found no issue with the chin strap, though after trying on one of the older versions, they said that the new one was much more comfortable and that the change of position for the chin strap was definitely a positive feature. For the rest, they appreciated the lightweight and said it definitely felt more sporty, especially due to the stronger ventilation. So a helmet that I'm sure pretty much everyone expected to be in this video is the Shoei Neotec II. Top helmet from Shoei in this category, and it's been one of the best, if not the best modular helmet since it was released. So it's going to come in at 630 euros or 700 US at the recommended retail price as well. The shell material is Shoei's AIM or Advanced Integrated Matrix. This is a fiberglass composite material, and the shell comes in 3 different sizes. The overall weight of this helmet is around 1.8 kilos as well. The visor comes with a pinlock lens in the box and has an advanced mechanism which creates a very strong seal. There is also going to be a drop-down sun visor as well. So air is brought into the helmet via a lip on the chin, a scoop on top, and it escapes out the back underneath the spoiler. The inner lining comes with noise isolators, which are pads by the ear to reduce noise. The liner is also removable, washable, and antibacterial. Shoei comes with a micrometric enclosure system, and the helmet is specially prepared for the center SRL communication system, which attaches onto the shell without drastically affecting the aerodynamics. So we had even hotter temperatures when testing the Shoei Neotec II than with the Sport Modular. The outside temperature had risen to 33 degrees Celsius, and the wind speed had increased to about 130 kilometers per hour. Onto the results of our testing, and our rider was able to get an average decibel reading of about 101 decibels while riding at 130 kilometers per hour. Further, the temperature was a very cool 31 degrees inside of the helmet, and that meant there was a difference between the inside and the outside temperature of -2 degrees Celsius. Our rider's impressions of the Neotec II were quite positive. In terms of noise isolation, he said it was pretty much the same as the Sport Modular and the C4 Pro, which we'll see in a moment. Ventilation was something that he especially pointed out as well, though that may have been influenced by the heat outside. He did say that it felt the most comfortable of the helmets tested so far, and that it was definitely one of the best to wear. So now we've come to the Schuberth C4 Pro. This helmet is an upgraded version of the original C4, fixed a lot of problems that helmet had, and this is the Pro version, not the basic and not the carbon. So it's going to come in at around 600 euros or 700 US dollars at the recommended retail price, and it's going to be one of the top modular helmets out there. The shell is Schuberth's direct fiber process shell, and that means it's going to be made out of fiberglass with the minimum amount having been used to reduce on weight and bulk. It comes in 3 different shell sizes and weighs around 1.78 kilos. For ventilation, we have a chin vent and a top scoop, then the air escapes out by the back of the neck via the liner, as we have no actual exhaust in the shell. The visor is Schuberth's standard wide visor and comes with a pinlock lens in the box to fit onto the visor. It also comes with a drop-down sun visor, and the inner liner is removable and washable, but it has also been made out of a velvet-like material, which makes it very soft and very comfortable. The helmet has a micro-ratchet enclosure system and comes prepared for the center SC1 communication system with mics and speakers already set up inside of the helmet. For the test of the Schuberth, the outside temperature was a nice and warm 31 degrees Celsius, and the wind speed had dropped to 120 kilometers per hour on average. So the result of the temperature testing was pretty good. We had a result of 30 degrees Celsius, and that meant we had a difference of -1 degrees, so a good amount of ventilation got into the helmets. Then for noise isolation, we had a very strong 99 decibels on average. So the C4 Pro scored pretty strongly overall and gave us top marks in the noise isolation and also in comfort categories. And these high level scores really helped to push up the value and quality of the C4 Pro. Alright, so now we're on to our runner-up helmets. These were not quite good enough to make our top cut, but we still tested them, we still have all the data, the results and so on, and they're tested on the same day as well. So what we're going to do is just quickly go through them, and you'll see all that data and stuff in the main graphs a little bit later as well. So the IRA Rev 19. This comes in at 360 euros or $400 at the recommended retail price and has a fully retractable chin bar. While testing this helmet, the outside temperature was 27 degrees and the wind speed was 130 kilometers per hour. We had strong ventilation results of 26 degrees inside the helmet, showing little difference between outside and inside, and then the decibel meter showed around 103 decibels of noise. So this was a little surprising, as our rider found it did feel much louder than what our test showed. He also wanted to mention that the chin bar moved well and that the liner felt a little bit on the cheap side. So interesting results on the IRO. So next up is the Roof Boxer Carbon, which is a helmet with a big focus on style. It comes in at $600 or 530 euros at the recommended retail price, and it also has a chin bar which retracts all the way to the back of the head. In our test, we had a temperature of 24 degrees and a slightly lower wind speed of 125 kilometers per hour. This was another helmet that performed well in ventilation, as it showed a helmet temperature of 26 degrees, meaning 2 degrees worth of difference. And then for noise isolation at this lower wind speed, it gave a result of 105 decibels of sound, which was fairly high. So our rider wanted to mention that the helmet felt pretty unstable at speed though, and that it was pretty loud, had a weak visor seal, and also was pretty uncomfortable. So this wasn't their favorite helmets. So finally we have come to our last helmet, the Nolan N105. This modular helmet comes with an RRP of 380 euros or $410, and for the weather conditions, the outside temperature was 20 degrees and the wind speed was an even 130 kilometers per hour. So our test showed some very weak ventilation, however, as the inside temperature was a hot 31 degrees, so a full 11 degrees worth of difference. Noise isolation was much better though, at around 100 decibels, and our results confirmed our rider's thoughts on the Nolan. It was pretty loud and very hot. The visor and chin bar though were strong features which really helped to bring back up the score, as did the noise isolation of the Nolan. Alright, so that is it for all of our helmets. We have the runners up, we have the top 5, so let's move on to the graphs, the results, and see exactly how each helmet compared. And remember as well guys that each result is taken from an average over a period of time and also at 130 kilometers per hour, so we have fair results. So in this graph you can see the difference between inside and outside temperature of the helmet, meaning that the lower the number, the better the result. And we had some pretty interesting results during our road tests, so the helmets we expected to perform well all did. The Shoei Neotec II, the Schuberth C4 Pro, and the AGV Sport Modular were our top helmets, though a surprising addition to this group was the IRA Rev 19, which came in at -1 as well. So it was closely followed by the HJC R90, then the Roof Boxer Carbon, and a very surprising result was how hot the Nolan N105 was. A difference of 11 degrees was very weak and is definitely an outlier from the helmets that we had tested. So the Shoei Evo One 2 had a pretty average result in terms of degrees as well. And on this next graph we have the reading in decibels recorded by our decibel meter. In this graph as well, the lower the number we have, the better the result. And also at this high of a range of decibels, even a difference of 1 or 2 is going to make a noticeable difference for the rider. So again, the helmets we expected to do well did well, though we didn't have any real surprises this time. The Shoei Evo One 2 and the HJC Alpha followed pretty closely behind the top 3, and then there was the Rev 19 and Boxer pulling in the rear. So it was really cool to see with our helmets that we had 3 that really stood out regularly, or were just at the top regularly. That was the AGV Sport Modular, the Shoei Neotec II, and the Schuberth C4 Pro. These helmets were really among our best, and our rider also confirmed that they felt the best, most comfortable, and so on. But something that was really interesting was the HJC R90, which was a very strong contender, always around the same mark or a little bit below, but you know, it's really cool seeing as this is not a so much of a premium helmet, more mid-range, whereas these three are premiums. So yeah, that was really cool, and our rider was quite surprised by HJC here, so it's a very high value helmet for sure. Then for the others, we had the Shark Evo One 2 here, very good at noise isolation, not that great in terms of ventilation, sadly. And then the roof box of carbon was interesting because it was the opposite. It was good at ventilation, but not at noise isolation. And we saw this kind of repeated as well with some of our runners-ups. So that was really cool to see with all of our tests and all of our results. So guys, that's going to do it for this kind of guide into the best modular helmets of 2020. So if you want to learn anything more, you want to see some more videos like this, then subscribe to us on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel. You'll find a lot more there, and we're always putting more out. All right, so guys, I'm Chris from Champion Helmets. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.